So first of all, Bill, Colonel Bill, I would like to thank you for being here today to visit with us and to help us commemorate our veterans and our participation in the war. I'd just like to take a little bit of your time just to help us understand and document our participation in the war. This helps us as the younger generations to learn about what our parents and the grandparents went through during the time.
Well, you know, I first fought in the World War II. I was a soldier in World War II. And I was in the first wave and we invaded Normandy. And then I came back home and went back to college. And then when I graduated, I came to work in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
And that's where and people all told me that as far as Laos was concerned, that the only person in Laos who was really leading the people to resist the communist invasion was Wang Pao. So I knew I needed to meet him. So I finally went up to the border of Laos and I asked the local people how could I get in touch with Wang Pao.
Wow.
And so he came down and met me at the Mekong River. And he said that he had always hated the communists. He said, I will lead my people to fight against the communists in Laos if you will give us the support and weapons that we need. And I said, I'll do the best I can. And I think we did it very successfully.
Wow, that is so interesting that much more than a partnership but a friendship sparked just by two people having kind of the same goals and the same outlook on life. That's very interesting. And also that you're from such different parts of the world and you have different philosophies versus what Hmong people believed in, but yet you guys come together and join forces and work together so well. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, I think if you look at the war we had against the Laotians and against the communists, because like God told me the first time he met the communists, he knew that they were going to be bad people because they tried to force everybody to do what they wanted them to do. And average people don't want to do that.
Right. I think one thing with Hmong is that we're free people. So we like to live independently. That's part of the reason why we do thrive in the mountainous regions of Laos is because we like that freedom. So for someone to come and kind of hold us, suppress us, or oppress us, that makes it very hard for us to deal with it.
Well, if you go back to history in the U.S., the reason the first Americans came to what is now the United States was because they wanted to be free.
That's true.
So I think the Americans as well as the Hmong were all based on the fact that they wanted freedom.
Right.
They didn't want the government to tell them what to do.
Right. That's very true.
And that's still the way.
Yeah. So when you first took this assignment, now what we call the secret war, this covert operation, did you know what you were getting yourself into?
Well, they recruited me right out of college. The first I fought in World War II, I went to Normandy invasion, and then I came back and went back to school. And when I graduated, that's when I'd never heard of the CIA. They contacted me and they wanted me to go to work for them. So I agreed because it sounded very interesting.
Right. Did you know?
I'm glad I did because it helped. I was able to use the U.S. government to help me support all of the people who were fighting against the communists.
Yes, and
because communism wanted the government to control all the people, but the truth is, if you look at it should be the people controlling the government.
The government, right? It should be a democracy. People should have control. Yes. First met the Hmong people. What were your initial reactions? What did you think? What was going through your mind?
Well, you know what happened. See, I went to Thailand, and I knew my duty was to fight against the communists who were trying to take over the whole world. Right? So when you looked at Laos, I went up to the border, and people told me that they thought that the only one who was really fighting against the communists in Laos was Wang Pao.
Yes.
So then I met him at the border, and that's what he told me. He told me all his experience against the communist people, and that he didn't like them, and he expected to spend his life fighting against it. And he hoped that I could help him. If I could help him get the weapons they needed to fight against the communists, they would do the fighting. So that's what I tried.
So you had a goal and a duty that you were focused on.
Right.
Okay. All right. I'm curious to know, how did you have these conversations with Mae Pao? Did he understand English, or did you speak with him in Laos? Or
well, you know, he could speak pretty good English at that time, but you know, he when he was young, he learned French.
Right.
And he was able to transfer over to English pretty easily.
Okay. Yep.
So when I first met him, we could communicate all right.
Okay. No sign language or body language?
No
Just go like pop,
he
pop,
was
pop like
a
that.
very intelligent
Okay.
guy.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. He picked up things pretty quick, and
yeah,
what you were
anything,
talking about. Okay.
Well, I think if you look at the Hmong people were always very quick to learn things. You know, I know that's what I noticed from the very beginning. I mean, 'cause I think the Hmong were basically mountain people.
Right.
Right. And if you look at the history of the world, the people who lived on top of the mountains were the most influential because they looked down on everybody.
That's true. And they adapted well, because you're living on top that high in
Yeah,
elevation.
because they believed they could do anything
Right.
better than the other people could
Right,
do.
right. That's true.
And that's important. What you believe that you can do, then
Yep,
you can do.
persevere.
Yeah.
Even regardless of other people telling you, or you going into and seeing that we were highly an uneducated group and didn't have a system of writing or reading. We were farmers. We didn't know modern warfare. You still had that belief in us that we could learn and that we can be trained. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think if you look at the Hmong people, the way they lived in those days, they were in a very good position, a very good position to become to resist the communists, and they did not want to be controlled by anybody. They wanted to be free. Well, if you look at history of the U.S., that's exactly what. Why did the people first come from Europe to the U.S. for the same reason?
Right. That's right. Because they believed in this American dream to be free.
Wanted to be free, right? Not to be controlled by anybody.
Right. So when you first got involved with this assignment and working with the CIA, did you know what their purpose was and wanting to align with the Hmong people? Did they see a special interest, or did they see like that the Hmong people could provide them with some kind of advantage or special skills or anything like that in helping them combat against communism?
Well, you know what? When I graduated from the after I first fought in World War II, I came back and went back to school. Because by that time you had the GI Bill. They paid for my education.
Right.
And I went to Texas A&M. And if you, I remember, I still have a copy of an article that was written at that time about all the colleges in the U.S. and it said that they thought Texas A&M was one of the best schools to prepare you to step out of college and get a good job because it taught you practical things, not.
Was it true? Was it true from your experience?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was true.
Yeah.
Because when I left college, I was immediately hired.
Okay.
And I've never been out of a job.
That's great. Okay, so from what you know, do you think that, how do you think that the CIA knew about the Hmong people besides what you were interested in, like kind of having that initiation with General Vang Pao? How do you think the CIA knew of the Hmong people? A largely ethnic minority group that not a lot of people know about.
No, I don't think the CIA knew anything about it until they sent me to Asia. I went to Thailand, and that's where I first got acquainted with Hmong people, because the people along the border between Laos and Thailand, they're the first ones who told me about Vang Pao. They said that Vang Pao was the only leader in Laos who was actively fighting the communists, and so I knew I needed to meet him.
Right.
So I arranged finally. I found a way to. I went to the border and I talked to people, and he came down. He came to the border, and I met him, and then I went to Laos with him, and I believe very strongly that he was the person we'd been looking for.
Okay.